Do you really need all those colors? Well, that's exactly what I'm gonna talk about today, as I thought that I would do a video on what acrylic paint colors do you really need? And I'm gonna show you why the answer is probably no. And I'm gonna show you the colors that I use, my favorite colors, kind of my secret arsenal of colors to mix any color under the sun. And I think you're gonna enjoy it. I think just about anybody, even if you're more than just a beginner, you're more advanced, I kind of blew myself away with how many colors I could actually mix with these 3 extra colors that I have and the rest that I have on my palette. Now, sort of the basic limited color setup that I have now is titanium white, cadmium yellow, cadmium red, ultramarine blue, and burnt umber. Now, a couple more obvious colors to add to the mix that will be helpful is cadmium orange and burnt sienna, which I also have. But I also have 3 colors that are sort of my secret arsenal of colors to mix any color I want, and they are Quinacridone Magenta, Green Gold, and Primary Cyan. Now, the Green Gold and Quinacridone Magenta can be found with a lot of brands. Atelier and Golden both make these 2 colors, and Liquitex probably does as well. However, Primary Cyan, which is my favorite of the 3, I've only been able to find through Golden. So if you're looking to buy some new colors or you're in the market of buying a new setup, here's an example of the Atelier colors I just ordered. We have white, yellow, orange, red, magenta, burnt umber, and ultramarine blue. But I already have the Green Gold and Primary Cyan with Golden and Burnt Sienna with my Liquitex, and so I didn't add the Green Gold or Burnt Umber when ordering the Ateliers. So now that you have a little overview of the colors that I own, let's head over to the palette. All right, so on the left we have titanium white, ultramarine blue, burnt umber, cad red, and cad yellow. And then of course our special colors down here are primary cyan, quinacridone, magenta, and green gold. So before we get to those 3 special colors, let's start off with just those primary colors. Let's take some cad yellow and ultramarine blue, mix them together, see what kind of green that makes, and just add some white to see what that looks like. Okay, now let's take some cad red along with some titanium white and give us a nice little pink, see what that looks like. Let's continue with that red and add some ultramarine blue, and that should give us some purple, right? Well, not quite. It's more of a dirty grayish purple. Let's add some white to it, and you can see that it just doesn't quite have what we're looking for. It's kind of a dead looking purple. Anyways, let's keep going. Let's take some cad yellow and some cad red, and it's gonna give us some nice orange. And all the way over on the right, I'm gonna take some ultramarine blue. We're gonna add some white, and that's gonna give us that nice sky blue that a lot of us look for. Then of course, if we take that same blue and add some burnt umber, we get a very neutral black, which we can add white to create some nice gray tones. And so that's basically the colors that you can mix with a set of primary colors along with some white and burnt umber. If we continue to keep mixing these colors, all of it's gonna start to look more muddy and dirty. So that's where we start thinking we need more colors, right? Well, yes, but I'm gonna show you how just adding these 3 extra colors can unlock virtually any color under the sun without needing to buy all of those colors that you saw in the beginning of the video. So let's start with our green. It's kind of a neutral, flat looking green, but let's take some green gold and see what that looks like next to the green we mixed. Look how more vibrant it is. And then if we add some white, man, that just pops. A very beautiful, brilliant green. Let's keep adding some green gold. Wow, it's just super vibrant. So right off the bat, we can see how brighter it is than our mixed green. Now check out this Quinacridone Magenta. Look how much more vibrant it is next to our cad red. And if we add some white, it gives us this beautiful, vibrant pink. Very different from the red. And if we keep adding more of that color, you can see it still retains its vibrancy and its brilliance. It's just really an awesome looking pink. All right, let's talk about purple. What if we take that same magenta and add some ultramarine blue to that? and compare it next to our Cad Red and Ultramarine Blue. Look at that rich, deep purple. And then if we add some white, boof, look at that beautiful purple. And if we keep adding more white, you can see that it still retains its brilliance and its vibrancy. It's just a wonderful looking purple. We could add more magenta to give it a more reddish, warmer look. Now what about that primary cyan? Well, let's put it next to our ultramarine blue. Right off the bat, you can see it's a very vibrant blue compared to that ultramarine. If we add some white, it creates just a nice, brilliant blue, almost like a turquoisey type of blue, and kind of perfect for those bluebird sky-like days or early morning skies. Now what if we take that same mixture and add some ultramarine blue? Look how that just creates a totally different blue, kind of like a nice royal blue, almost like a cerulean blue. And if we add some white to that, you can see that we now have about 6 different blues that really cover all the bases that we need. We have almost every blue we need now. Let's talk about that yellow. I'm gonna take some Cad Orange and show you the reason why I like using some Cad Orange right out of the bottle sometimes. If we lay down that orange next to our mixed orange, look how much more vibrant and bright that orange is. And then if we add some yellow to the mixture with a little bit of that Cad Orange, it creates a nice golden yellow, much different from the yellow out of the tube. Let's keep moving. I know this is going kind of quick, but let's try to keep up. Let's take some primary cyan and add some yellow and see what kind of green that gives us. Whoa, look how bright that green is. If we add some white, it's like a primary or permanent green color. How about some more magenta examples? Let's take some of that magenta, add some yellow, and look at that awesome, rich, like a burgundy orange color. So now we have pretty much every orange that we need. We add a little more yellow, gives us like a starburst, brilliant yellow. Grab some more magenta, put that right under our pink. Let's add some red right next to that, mix those two together. Look how rich that red looks. It's like a deep red color. We add some white. Just a nice muted pink with kind of a lot of glow to it, much different from the pinks above. So that's pretty much every red that we need. If we keep going with that magenta, let's experiment with some orange. Check that out, totally different spectrum of orange here. Now we've got the same deep red muted color, but with orange. Add some white just to brighten that up. Perfect peach looking color. So that's pretty much all the reds that we need. Let's take this a step further. I'm gonna take some more green gold, and this time I'm gonna add burnt umber, mix that together, add a little bit of white, and now we've got 2 more shades of green, sort of an olive looking green. So that's even more greens that we can mix with those colors. Now I'm gonna add some burnt sienna, add that to the mix and kind of show you why that color has some value as well. Let's start off by mixing some green gold with that burnt sienna and see what kind of look that gives us. Add some white, and that's basically the same variant of that other olive green with the burnt umber, but even more vibrant. How about if we add some red to that burnt sienna? That gives us like a nice brick red look. If we add some yellow to that, that's almost like a raw sienna or Turner's yellow. And speaking of yellow, let's take some primary cyan, add some yellow to that. We're gonna add some white to give us that permanent green look we have up on our upper left. And then I'm gonna introduce some more yellow. And look at this color, it's like a chartreuse, just brilliant. Okay, that was kind of fun. So let's take these 2 colors and mix them together and see what that gives us. Mix that pink first with the magenta and white. Then I'm gonna pick up some primary cyan and white and then mix those together. Bam, look at that beautiful mixture from violet to blue. Those are almost iridescent colors. Let's take some burnt sienna and ultramarine blue, mix those together and introduce some white and see what that gives us. Just a nice, cool, steel blue look. What if we take some burnt sienna and use the other blue? Let's take some primary cyan and mix that together. Gives us a nice dark turquoise initially, and if we add some white to that, it's almost like a gray turquoise look. Another great looking color. Speaking of turquoise, let's try some turquoise. So we're gonna take some primary cyan, mix that with white, then we're gonna add some yellow, but a very small amount of yellow. And just like that, we have some iridescent looking turquoise. We add some more blue to that along with some magenta, and it just gives us a little bit different variant of that. Let's try that again with some green gold at the bottom, mix that in, even another variant. So we have all these different turquoise looking mixtures now that really cover all the bases. Let's go back to that burnt sienna and mix some magenta. Right away, it gives us this rich, deep, brick red pink look. Add some white to the mix, and that gives us a couple muted burgundy pink colors. 2 more great ones. Let's try that same mixture, but with burnt umber instead of the sienna. That's almost even more vibrant. Another 2 more awesome colors. Let's continue with this by taking some burnt umber and adding cadmium red this time. Now that almost gives us burnt sienna. But if we add some white to that, a very muted brown look. And that reminds me, I forgot to take some burnt umber and add some primary cyan. See what that gives us. Let's do it right next to the burnt sienna mixture. Add some white. Same kind of thing as the red. It's almost even more brilliant than the burnt sienna mixture. Now let's do the same with the ultramarine mixture, but there's only going to be a little bit of burnt sienna mixed in, and then when we add some white, it doesn't give us quite gray. It gives us just a nice, brilliant blue-gray, navy-gray look. Aha, and I know that all of you have been waiting for some cadmium orange and primary cyan. What's that going to do? It creates like a totally different color of green. I don't know what these colors are, but 2 more greens. Let's continue with the orange and let's add some green gold to that. Another green. Add some white. That's almost like a army green mixed with yellow or something. Just beautiful and brilliant as well. Okay, and last one that I can think of anyways is let's take some cadmium red and some green gold and see what that does to us. Gives us a nice burnt orange look. Add some white. And that's like an orangish raw sienna. Very brilliant as well. And so there you have it. By just adding those 3 extra colors and some burnt sienna and orange if you want to, you can mix pretty much every single color that's out there. There is no need to buy any of those colors if you're willing to just do the work in mixing them.